Don't get me wrong. I know this video is a little late, and I know that this could have been done a long time ago. But frankly, I just wanted to talk about it anyways. The person I want to talk about is Amber Heard. I mean Amber Bennett, my bad. Okay. Amber Bennett from Invincible. And I want to talk about why everyone hated Invincible's Amber Bennett in the first place, or why everyone hated Invincible's Amber. And there are various reasons for this, and I'm gonna be honest, when you see her in season 3 and you have the conversation with Mark and they meet her new boyfriend, she doesn't seem that bad. And there's a lot of times where frankly, I kind of enjoy the character. I don't think it's the worst character in the world. I think she's pretty cool as a person, and I think overall she's not that bad. But there's a reason why a lot of us, well, for the title I gotta say everyone, but a lot of us hated her a large chunk of time because of what she did. Now, let's give a little bit of context. To the reason why everyone hated Amber Bennett. And for starters, I want to start out by saying this. Mark was a terrible boyfriend. I mean, a lot of the times, if you look at it from one lens, he was a horrible boyfriend. And I mean, borderline, he was being a total shithouse of a boyfriend. Now, I want to say, starting with this, right? She would flat out, right, be left, would be completely ignored. And there was a lot of times where she would basically get left during a study date because he had to do some hero stuff. And in our eyes, well, flat out, she's basically not knowing what's going on with Mark. Doesn't know what's happening. So in our eyes, when he ends up missing out on the soup kitchen as well, I mean, we think, you know what? We get it, right? We get why she's angry. We get why she's upset. And they even get back together after he gets hit by a bus or gets hit by a battle beast. But they then have a little bit more trouble in paradise as well, even though a little bit of it, like a little bit of the time they have together is paradise. They have some good times, they have some bad times, but for a good chunk of it, they have a lot of good moments. That's until they go to college or go visit a college and he's with her or Amber and William, and things go well, but of course, Mark's running late all over again, runs 20 minutes late, but of course, he's able to make up for it with some stuff, with some I believe it was cheesecake or something along those lines. And of course, though, Mark would always have something else going on, would always run into something that stops him and that messes him up, and just overall just messes with the whole flow of what they had going as a relationship and as a couple. And eventually Mark would have to run away because he would have to get suited up to beat these weird cyborg like people, and Amber would cry saying that he abandoned her. And honestly, we would think like, you know what, that's valid. I mean, honestly, Amber, from her eyes and from her point of view, it looks like he flat out abandoned her. And the fact is that there's just no way that anybody else would see it differently. The fact is he left her, and the fact is she was in danger, and she had no idea what was going on. She had no clue what was happening, and she was scared out of her mind. But one thing I cannot be on her side about is the fact that she almost cheated, and frankly would have cheated if this guy didn't eventually admit that he literally has a girlfriend, and they would have definitely, or she would have definitely allowed him to basically do the dirty thing that we all know. Now, flat out, that makes her a bad person. That's not okay, right? It's not good to do those things, not good to cheat. There's no circumstance, in my opinion, that cheating is all right. But here's the thing. With all those things being said, with me saying like, yeah, Mark was horrible in this instance, horrible, at least in the point of view of her, all those instances that Mark was being horrible, Mark still tried to fix things. And how would he fix things? Well, the way he would fix things is by hitting the DEFCON 1 button and by revealing his identity as Invincible, right? This is the only way that he felt things could go back to normal. The only way that she would understand why he was in the scenario that he was in, right? The reason why he ran off when those cyborg-like things came out of nowhere and attacked them, why he didn't show up on multiple occasions, or why he basically ditched her on multiple occasions as well. And you would think, hearing this, she would be upset. Like, you know what? I'm mad that you didn't tell me, but I get it. I understand it, right? I get why you kept this away from me. I get why you kept this a secret. And now I can understand and trust you a little bit more on the reasons why you just up and disappeared, and the reasons why you will eventually disappear in the future. But here's the thing, and the reason why everyone hated her was because she already knew. Yes, all the things that she has said to Mark, all of the horrible and the stupid things that she was going to do or was basically insinuating on doing, and also the things that she said to him about, you know, feeling abandoned and all of these other things and almost cheating. She knew the whole time that he was invincible. And that's why everyone hated her so freaking much, was because she literally knew what he was going through and still made him feel like garbage. Unfairly treated Mark and had basically a giant list of complaints on him, even though she knew. Yes, she was upset with him for constantly flaking on her, which is understandable. However, when we finally get revealed to us that she honestly knew that he was invincible, basically explaining the whole thing, or the idea of him being invincible would have explained why he's been absent on multiple occasions, she basically dismissed it, saying that she figured it out already and that it didn't matter. It didn't matter that he was invincible, and flat out, it was just unfair that she was able to continue being upset with him despite knowing the immense burden that she was, or that he was basically placing himself under. It felt as if there was a lack of empathy for Mark's struggles. Yes, don't get me wrong, everyone struggles, every single person. But it felt like Mark was trying to be empathetic with the feelings that she was having. But when she revealed that she flat out knew that he was invincible, it felt like all the empathy went out the window. She no longer had that empathy for Mark. And the fact is, he was constantly trying to balance his personal life, his school life, his superhero duties, and often he would be putting himself in extreme danger. So at the end of the day, most of us, if not everyone, felt that Amber lacked that empathy for his situation, making their relationship feel so one-sided. And initially, I would say a lot of us felt, and at least I felt, that it was one-sided on the regard of Amber. Amber was doing everything. Amber was basically getting pushed aside every single time. But once things started changing, once basically she admitted that she knew, it felt as if it was hypocritical. It was kind of horrible. It was perceived initially that she didn't know anything, and that it was okay that she felt this way, and well, heavily okay that she felt this way, because she didn't know Mark was keeping this big secret. But the fact is she knew, and criticizing Mark no matter what, and even criticizing him even though she knew, made it feel like she was being an absolute hypocrite, being someone who wasn't really taking the feelings into someone someone she supposedly loved into account. And it felt like it was all collapsing around him, and it all felt like she was just adding to the burden of trying to carry his superhero and school duties, on top of the fact that she is now basically adding her own burden of being hypocritical, gaslighting, and all of these other things. And really, the reason why, honestly, a lot of us disliked her too was, in comparison to the comics, it's kind of a totally different character. She definitely is more supportive and less confrontational, but the show's version made her a little bit more independent, which in my opinion I think is fine. But the things that she says in this regard, and the reasons she has, and all these horrible other things that she does, it just feels kind of messed up. It feels like the writers were adding unnecessary drama for no reason. And frankly, this is kind of like when we go back to the older videos and some of my more popular videos where we talk about CW's Iris West. She, in my opinion, when I rewatched the entirety of CW Flash, I basically enjoyed her character quite a bit. It wasn't too bad. Honestly, I thought the chemistry between her and Barry wasn't horrible and wasn't terrible. Same way I feel about Amber and also Invincible or Mark Grayson. I feel like their chemistry is pretty damn good. But then once you start adding this unnecessary drama, it felt as if this drama that Amber was having in this relationship was massively forced and massively unnecessary. We knew what the end game was. The end game was Adam freaking Eve, and she's amazing. We love Adam Eve to death, but the fact is, I felt like we didn't need this unnecessary and kind of weird drama that she was forcing into the relationship just so that they would eventually break up. Just so that we would eventually get Adam Eve and Mark Grayson together as what it's supposed to be. We didn't need all that. We could have done it a different way. We could have had a send-off where maybe Invincible felt like combining the world or the normal world with his, superhero world felt as if it wasn't right for Amber. It felt as if it wasn't kind of proper for her, and that it wasn't fair that he would ditch her, leave her, and basically do his own thing constantly and leave her in the dark quite a bit. And he felt like she deserved so much better. And if they did it that way, I would understand why a lot of people would basically enjoy the Amber kind of character a little bit more. But with all of the writing, with all of the kind of the drama that was placed in this relationship and the kind of way, the direction that they approached Amber Bennett, it made it so a lot of us, and almost borderline everyone, hated her character entirely. And frankly, some may question, was the hate really justified, right? Was it? Not everyone technically hated Amber. Some defended her, arguing a couple things like Mark was, a bad boyfriend and stuff like that, which I understand that. Honestly, I agree with that. To an extent, if you look at it through her point of view, or what should have been her point of view, Mark wasn't a good boyfriend and obviously wasn't ready to be in a relationship. So why would he force that type of relationship on someone like Amber, who was basically going to have to deal with all of this excess drama and would have to deal with the fact that he would ditch her every single time, or borderline every single time? And that's the reality of it. But what made it so messed up for Amber is the fact that she had no empathy for the fact that he was invincible, and it makes it even worse that she already knew in the first place. But with all that said, honestly, when we see her in season 3, and I'll bring this up all over again, is the fact that when we see her in season 3, I honestly enjoy her a lot more. I feel like the chemistry is still there between her and Mark, and I feel like she's in a good spot. I feel like as a character, it's a lot more comic Amber. I know, outside of the horrible things that happens to her in the comics, which I won't go into because I want this video to be monetized. But it felt as if she was more of that comic Amber, in terms of personality, in terms of the way she was acting, and it seemed as if Mark and her really were able to get along. And frankly, some people at the end of the day are just better to be friends than actually being in a relationship, because things sometimes just don't work out. And let's be honest, Amber just wasn't the soulmate that Mark needed. It was truly Adam Eve, and it was always Adam Eve from day number effing 1. But with all that said, I would love to hear your guys' opinion on Amber Bennett from Invincible, and if you agree that you hate her, that you dislike her, do you actually enjoy the character? I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Can't wait to see in the comment section a bunch of people saying that not everyone hated her, but obviously YouTube titling, kind of gotta say I can't say why some people hated Invincible's Amber Bennett or Invincible's Amber. Kind of doesn't sound right, kind of doesn't sound proper. So of course I'm going to title it like this. But with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, leave a sub, and leave comments down below on whatever you would like. Now with that said, if you enjoyed this video, YouTube believes you'll enjoy this one, so might as well go check it out.